Questions I get asked by a lot of agents who are moving into the space of the market of AI and are communicating about AI with their clients, their talent, their collaborators, and their peers is, how do you get over the fear of not knowing everything about AI or not having all of the answers on AI? Sometimes when you are a professional advisor, whether it's an agent, a lawyer, a legal advisor like me, sometimes also a teacher on, working on a particular topic, you feel that pressure of, on the given subject, having all of the answers should someone come up to you and ask about a particular point. And you sometimes have that worry, which I'm not sure is quite imposter syndrome, but it's in that flavor, in that range. You have a worry that you'll be caught off guard not having the answer or having to say, I don't know, and you worry about the impact on your reputation of doing that. I am here to help you quash this worry and anxiety, especially if it's holding you back from experimenting or running pilots with AI in the context of work, your agency, or and exploring certain partnerships with clients, because it would be a real shame for you not to deploy your skill set and learn only because you feel you don't have it all together perfect, like little perfect Polly. And I can absolutely say and confess I'm in the same boat. I also experience the fear of not having all of the answers. And here is what I do in order to manage that. Before I do that, I'm going to introduce myself briefly to give context to this conversation. I'm Dr. Mathilde Pavis. I'm legal advisor and founder of Replique, which is the space I created for talent and agents to find resources, advice, and support on AI and digital replicas. I give legal and ethical advice for our digital lives, but recently AI has been, taking over the conversation very much, and I've been tracking this topic for 10 years, and I've been running now for over 3 years a full-time practice in this space. We do contract reviews, we do counsel hours, we also are soon going to do courses in this space in order to equip professionals who are interested in learning how to navigate this space with the tools and the knowledge that I've collected and garnered over the years, working on AI deals, digital replicas, working with unions in this space and many different organizations, from tech developers to producers and to agencies like the United Nations. So I'm bringing my experience to this space, and a lot of it actually has to do with our emotions. We show up with us humans, and then including the anxiety around AI and not having all of the answers to navigate the change. And I also have that myself because of the work I do and because the space I'm in. But how I manage this, I basically do 4 things. The first is that I remind myself that the area is new. If I feel challenged as a professional in my field who's been tracking the topic and connected subjects for a long time, if I feel challenged, chances are I'm not the only one, and it's probably more about the topic than it is about me. AI is new and it's fairly messy, it's complex, it moves relatively fast, and is used completely differently in different parts of the creative industries, different parts of the same sector. So the notion that you should know it all perfectly, like the back of your hand, on the same level as topics as an agent that you've been dealing with for 10 plus years is unrealistic, and nobody is in that position. The best you can do is know your corner of the industry quite well and be open-minded and be learning about AI and its implications. And I think that's the highest bar you can set for yourself. And if you're watching your video, I know you're already doing that because you're here watching me or listening to me or reading me if you're catching the transcript. So I know AI is new, it's moving fast, nobody has all of the answers, and the best I can do is just to look after my corner of the industry. I also know that there is no industry standard yet. There are the beginnings of union-approved agreements, but much of it is still being done contract by contract, deal by deal. There is no Bible or any equivalent sort of template or single kind of bulletproof and future-proof way to do business. There's no industry standard. Anyone who claims so, I think, frankly, is inaccurate and is speaking BS, if I may say so, and forgive my French slightly on that. I can swear like a sailor, and I'm trying not to on the professional channels, but I do feel quite strongly about that. Another way I manage the fear of not having all of the answers is that I don't present myself or introduce myself as someone who has all of the answers on AI. I could say I'm passionate about the topic. I also care so deeply for my clients and for the sector I work in. I care about actors and agents and producers and everybody that make those projects work and get over the line and get funded and come live on screen or in my earbuds when I'm listening to a podcast or anything like that. And I really care about AI and how it's able or not to recreate people's faces and voices. And I have training in law and especially intellectual property and contract, but nowhere would I say in all of this that I am and I have all of the answers on AI. I have a really specific intersection of AI, contracts, law, and creative work that I'm interested in. And that means I've tracked this topic for a while. That gives me perspective. I've worked in it, so that gives me insights. And I have a notion of what has worked in the past and what has failed. But all of this still being so new, I still can't say there is one way to cut an AI deal. Nobody can say that. Anyone who says that, I'd be really interesting to meet, because I would, debate them quite fiercely on this, I think. So if you don't present yourself as someone who knows it all about AI, then you're not going to be criticized the day you say, actually, I don't know. Another thing that helps me is that I've let go of the pressure or the expectation that I should know about any AI news in my world the minute it drops on, online, on the socials, or the minute it hits the headlines, because it's not possible. AI is churning a phenomenal amount of articles and is a bit of a clickbaity topic, and often if I was trying to keep pace, I'd just spend my life on social media and or reading newspaper articles, often not to a great deal of value, because if you watch this space you realize that most of the time, if you catch the news at the end of the week and get a weekly digest, you get everything you need. But often the weekly digests are still quite repetitive. There aren't as many AI news as the headlines pretend that there are. So the news cycle and the real news on AI are not happening at the pace that is presented in the media. So you can afford to switch off and just take a little breather on that. You're not going to miss the train. If there is a train to catch, because of your network and because you're a professional in a specific space, your peers will let you know. The network effect will make sure that if something big or landmark happens in your space, you will know about it, because you'll be connected to the right newsletters, you'll be showing up at the right association meetings, you'll have friends and colleagues and peers who will bring it up at different times through different formats, whether it's WhatsApp or the water cooler conversation, that sort of thing. And the last thing I do to help me get over that is the fact that I also know who to ask. If I'm met with a real challenge, either technical or otherwise, about AI, and I'm stuck and I can't progress, or I can't support a client, or I want something to be double checked to be super sure, I will go and find help. I have on my phone 2-3 people that I can just drop a text to and get on a call quite quickly in order to brainstorm those ideas and get unstuck. And if I need professional help, I know who to ask and who to get help from, and who I'll, pay to help me. And I have no shame in this game. That's how I stay sharp, confident that what I bring to people and the work I do is at the best standard it can be, given the really new, uncertain, and slightly messy space that AI is today. And getting comfortable with the not knowing, but the knowing where to find the answer is way more important than to have downloaded this kind of rigid formula of knowledge that, by the way, nobody has into your brain, because this is not realistic. It's better to have a method to find out the information, or to know how to get help quickly and professionally than to have this standard that all of the information should already sit in your brain and you should work in order to update yourself every 24 hours when the news cycle change. So these are my tips and tricks that I use to beat my fear and anxiety over not having all of the answers on AI, despite the fact that I run a full professional practice and give legal advice in this space, and especially in a fairly technical part of that. And this is also why at Replique we had to modify our business model in order to be able to support and do quick cancel hours and turn around contract reviews really quickly, quicker than a regular law firm, or quicker even than we did in the past, because we knew that the moment you have a question, often as an agent or the advisor of a talent, you don't have a lot of time to figure it out, and it can be a bit of a stressful time. So we want to be that partner to you in that moment, and we want to be an ear or a space you can come to, either through our office hours, which are free and happen every other week, or by getting one of our advisors on the phone. Often that'll be me, but I can also be some of my colleagues and team members. So know that the help is here on the topic of AI and Replica. You are not alone. You can find peers who will help. You can come to us if that's what you need, and we'll be there to help and support and quash that anxiety going forward. Anyway, that's it for now. I will see you next week for another video, or in the inbox if you've reached out for help.